The News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining us now is Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Senior Fellow of IPCS. He's with us here in the studio. We also have Sushil Pandit, activist, joining us. Vandana Vijay is founder and CEO of Offbeat Tracks. Sanjay Jha is an author joining us on the show. Vandana Vijay, let me start by asking you, a number of Indian travel websites have done this voluntarily, and you've seen the whole list of them who've said that they're going to take Turkey and Turkish packages off of their particular websites or apps, what have you. The big question that many are asking is that why should we as a country not do that? There are about 330,000 tourists who visit Turkey every year, and I'm not even talking about those who fly through Turkey, given the fact that several of our airlines have even code-sharing agreements with their airlines. Why should all of this business be given to a country that is clearly acting against India's interest?
Hi, thank you for having me over. I want to start with a little bit of history about how it's pretty tragic as to what has happened with our relationship with Turkey, because if you look at it, right in 1947, Turkey was one of those first European countries which established diplomatic relationships with India. Historically, if you look at it, I'm from Hyderabad. Princess Nilofer is of Turkish origin, and you've got the famous Nilofer Bakery and then Nilofer Hospital and all such there. Personally, having traveled across Turkey in 2019, I would say that India and Turkey share a whole lot of historical and cultural ties. Simple things like words, Zameen is floor in Zemin is floor in Turkish, Zameen in India. So there's a lot of history and culture that we share with that country, and it's pretty unfortunate as to what has happened today. Yes, you're absolutely right about the fact that the Indian market is a huge market for Turkey. The average Indian tourist spends significantly larger than what an average British tourist or a Brazilian tourist would spend when they're traveling to Turkey. That makes the reason why all your destination management companies from Turkey are heavily looking and promoting travel to Turkey from India. Turkey is one of your biggest and most lucrative wedding destinations when it comes.
That's all very well, ma'am, but we have historical ties even with, say, for instance, cultural ties with Pakistan. There is common language, so on and so forth. That doesn't mean that a country that is actively supporting Pakistan at a time of conflict should necessarily be supported by Indians.
It's only supported by Indians, and I completely agree with you on that. But do you think a blanket boycott is going to be a solution for it? And if we just look at Turkey sending drones into India, by that logic, we should blanket boycott US. The F-16s were used by the Pakistani Air Force.
Okay, so let me bring in Abhijit on that. Fair point. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, are we going to then boycott China completely? The US has given F-16s. Why, do one thing with only one country, that is Turkey? Then this policy should be applicable to all the countries providing weapons to Pakistan.
Why should it be like that? You choose and pick actions based on who you're stronger with and who you're not. The trade balance with Turkey and the travel balance with Turkey is entirely in India's favor. We can get rid of them from our supply chains. There's not many Turks who come here. So you play to your advantages. Is there any rule, Madhav, which says, if I'm up against a strong guy and a weak guy, just because I slap the weak guy, I have to slap the strong guy also? ऐसे कोई rule है क्या? Look, Turkey has been pathologically anti-India. They've been harming our interests since 1947. Okay, they fundamentally believe that this so-called Khilafat movement, which was Gandhi's little, peace offering to the crazies in Kerala, was the origin of the Pakistan movement. So since Turkey's inception, they have been supporting Pakistan throughout the 1960s, 70s, 80s. They supported Pakistan. Even today, if you go to Turkey, you go sit in their think tanks and universities, they'll tell you it was Pakistan. They don't even know that it was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi who started off the Khilafat movement out here. Second, Indian tourists don't realize the kind of things that happen in Turkey. You get a shawarma or doner roll or whatever you want to call it these days, German or some people claim it was invented in Germany, but whatever you eat in Turkey, most of the lamb dishes, they're cooked in beef fat. I don't even know if most of the Hindus traveling out there even know this fact of what happens in Turkey out there. It's a beautiful country. I've been to Turkey some 10, 12 times now. I'm not going to go there again. But that's a different matter. Beauty, shared linkages, Persia also, we have lovely shared linkages. But the last great people-to-people interaction was Nadir Shah bringing his army here and killing about 100,000 Delhi walas. That is also a people-to-people interaction, right? So we need to get away from this, uniformity of policy, this sort of culture, love, beautiful country and all of that. That doesn't work in these circumstances.
Sanjay Jha, why should we not look at the circumstances that are suitable to India? And it's not like it's not happened in the past. We've all seen what's happened when there was a similar sort of issue with Maldives. And that time as well, we had seen a huge drop in terms of Indians actually going into Maldives. And everyone who wants to go on a holiday has every right to decide whether they want to do it, in the interest of the country, or whether they want to enrich a country that they believe has been functioning against India's interest or not.
Madhav, just a few bullet points. Number one, all those people who passionately believe that boycotting a country on tourism, etc., is a long-term solution to whether they will provide military or diplomatic support to our neighbors or whatever, my suggestion to them will be put enormous public pressure on this government and tell them to, break diplomatic relationship with Turkey outright. So, na rahega baas, na bajegi baasuri situation. End of day, I will tell you something, Madhav. Number one, individuals in America, for example, have boycotted Tesla, and all over the world they're boycotting Tesla because they haven't liked Elon Musk's policies. Those who individually have a very strong sentiment or an opinion, they should freely exercise whatever option they want to. But I have one fundamental problem, because when I got the notice of your program, and I noticed his theme, I went to Twitter to check what's going on. And a large majority, if not 900% of the people who are saying all this is what I call as, the typical right-wing ecosystem. To them, I will tell what is the right advice. Boycott the BJP. I'll tell you why they need to boycott the BJP.
One second. I need to just comment on this, Sanjay. I'm just reading out the names of the travel websites. Forget the right-wing ecosystem. Just 1 second. There's Ixigo, there's Go Homestays, there is Make My Trip, there's Cox and Kings, Travo Mint, as well as Ease My Trip, to the best of my knowledge. Now, are these all, right-wing corporations? Are you going to now say that this is just the right-wing corporations, or the pressure on the right-wing corporations is making all these companies do this?
Madhav, you interrupted me when I was speaking.
No, I'm correcting you, because you say that it's only the right-wing universe. There has to be a fact check, sir.
Madhav, my dear bearded counterpart, when I say right-wing ecosystem, it doesn't have to be 4 travel companies. It has to be a whole number of individuals who are tweeting at this point of time. And I've seen it. So if you want to challenge me, you're free to do that. But let me make my point before you move over. That end of day, it is the BJP government of Mr. Modi, which has 100 billion trade deficit with China, which has openly provided arms and supported Pakistan. So I would request Mr. Pandit, Mr. Mitra, and everybody who's watching this program, tell Mr. Modi to break off.
Okay, the same argument coming in once again. The same argument coming in once again. You haven't answered the question I asked you though. But let me put this across to Sushil Pandit. Sushil Pandit, what applies to the goose was applied to the gander. What applies to Turkey must apply to China. Boycott China as well. Similarly, if you're running an anti-Turkey campaign, the same question that was asked by the previous speaker. Sushil Pandit. Please unmute yourself and speak, sir. Okay, there's a problem with your audio. Abhijit, would you like to respond to what Sanjay says? Sanjay says that's the same question essentially, and he says that this is all some kind of right-wing universe propaganda on social media. Your response, Abhijit.
Look, like you said, all these companies are not right-wing, na? His standard response to everything is boycott BJP, vote out BJP. You ask him what is the secret to a golden retriever's friendliness, he'll say golden retrievers, they're orange but they don't like BJP. So, these are infantile arguments. It doesn't suit somebody in a corporate sphere to be talking like this. China, we can't boycott, we're too dependent on them. They're an industrial power. Why should we? He wants us deliberately. Notice, he's playing the Chinese agenda. He's playing the Pakistani agenda. He wants us to boycott China so our economy collapses, so that his party, the party that kicked him out, comes to power. This is a standard thing. The problem with the Congress and Congressies like Sanjay Jha is, in their hatred of Modi, they've started hating India. Today, there's no difference between a Sanjay Jha and a Muhammad Ali Jinnah. He even looks like Muhammad Ali Jinnah, but with less hair.
Okay, Madhav.
Okay, Sanjay, no personal comments. No personal comments. Let's not get personal.
Yeah. But
my request to both of you. Let's not get personal. Sanjay, answer the question that he has raised, though.
Yeah, Madhav, let me tell you how hypocritical this man is. He's so shameless that he tells you at the beginning of the program, I have been to Turkey 12 times. Now you should not go there.
I
Ask
said I'm
him when
not.
was the
Are
last-
you deaf?
1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. That we don't know. That we don't know. The second point.
Yeah, we don't know if
I mean,
you're
he's
deaf.
openly admitting on your show that if China helps Pakistan with arms, that hurts India. He's okay with it. Simply because we must do business with China. Exactly why the ceasefire came to an end.
And he
Donald
lies
Trump
as
says
well.
Mr. Modi struck a deal because he wanted to have trade.
Okay.
I mean, is this
You know,
the
this is
commitment of his
exactly
government to national
why he
security?
got kicked out of
They
the
need to
Congress. He
apologize
can't
to
listen.
India.
He
They need
can't.
to apologize
He has
to
no.
every citizen of this
His
country.
cognitive
Will you
abilities are
stop,
diminished.
allow
This
him
is why he
to
got
Let me
kicked
just-
out from the
gentlemen,
Congress.
there's limited time. Sushil
He
Pandit is back with us, I'm told. Sushil Pandit, your response to Sanjay.
Yeah, thank you. It's a matter of common sense. It is a matter of national interest. If it is in our national interest, our national dependence, if it is critical for the transitioning of manufacturing from China to India, we will not disrupt that relationship as of now because it is in our national interest. And if it is in our national interest and for very little cost, we can disrupt our relationship with Turkey, so we will do. We will pick our enemies and we will pick our fights at our own convenience. It's a matter of common sense, which is not common with some of these people who
How
argue on
immoral.
behalf of China and United
How
States.
cheap. How
As simple
vulgar.
as that.
You're a Pakistani.
Madhav,
You will always be the
Sanjay Jha,
You're a
and when it comes
Pakistani
to,
agent.
one second. Sanjay Jha, when it comes to strategic affairs, every country chooses its fights. It picks and chooses and then does what it needs to do. Why is that such an offensive idea to you?
No, I said every individual is free to take their call. In fact, I'm telling Mitra and
We as
Mr.
a
Arey, you
Pandit
didn't say that,
Tell-
Jack.
tell
When I
Mr.
said we are
Modi's
dependent on them, you said
break off
I
diplomatic
with China.
relationship
with them.
Break off diplomatic
You
relationship
have
with Turkey
serious
if it hurts
cognitive
you.
issues, Sanjay. This
One
is why you
minute.
got kicked
Break
out
off
of the Congress
diplomatic
also.
relationship with
You don't
Turkey.
have a home.
Don't
Please
be a
realize
coward.
Okay. Completely out of time. Completely out of time. No personal comments again. Once again is what my advice to all our panelists will be. Nevertheless, leaving it there. Abhijita and Mitra, Sushil Pandit, Vandana, Vijay, Sanjay Jha. Thanks so much for joining us this evening.